took my outline originally, this, so, anyway, uh, when you read history, they spend not a lot of time, but they talk about, um, how the Greeks influenced Western civilization. And
Yeah, well, I haven't turned it on because it's in front of the speaker.
Oh, I see.
I think you need to flip it around. Put your hearing in. Oh, okay. We should ask.
oh,
Can we do that? Just a little adjust it that way and try, bend this and break it. Now, like I said, don't turn it on till you hear it. Breaks some shit.
It's on the ground.
Yeah, really. I mean, you do, but it's not for this. For something else. He's almost they were. Just that you can turn them on here. With it. Part of the speaker says this is a lot cheaper.
and anyway, when you hear, people talk about the influence that Greek had, the Greek Empire had on the Reformation, or on of the world, Greek philosophy is often talked about. And a lot of times, when you hear people talk about it, or at least I think I hear this, they say that philosophy was against the church. And actually, Greek philosophy was supporting the formation of the church. That's kind of what I got to figure out in this section here. It's not quite finished yet, but this is where I am.
Okay, now you can turn it on.
Okay, everybody hear me?
Did you turn it on?
I think it's turned on.
This
Oh,
thingy box. Make sure you. Hold on a second. Yeah, we gotta get behind that. I think we're gonna bring you back a little bit.
Is this one on? Yeah, that one's on. Let's just use it. Because that thing isn't gonna cooperate with us. It just doesn't. Because it's not the screw-in part. It's that antenna. When the antenna vibrates, it causes a lot of feedback.
Okay, give me this.
So we're just gonna use this one.
Yep, just sit down and talk.
oh, okay. Okay. Creating Western civilization. Western civilization was highly influenced by the ancient Greeks. The Greeks changed the way the world looks at governing its people, art, math, philosophy, architecture, education, sports, drama, etc. Without the ancient Greeks, the modern world would be this wouldn't be the same. For example, men such as Socrates, Plato, changed the way we look at philosophy. If it weren't for the Greek Empire, we would be living in a different, entirely different socioeconomic system. Now, remember, in one of the presentations we had recently, I told you we kind of set a boundary up between the Middle East, Asia, the Middle East, and Western civilization. And when we're talking about philosophy that affected the Western civilization, the philosophy that affected the Asian civilization was what Confucius preached. Confucius was from China, and he emphasized placing your goals or looking for the world on yourself, where Greek philosophy influenced Christianity that presented the idea of giving, loving, sharing, and caring. So in your approach with your beliefs and the implementation of your beliefs, we focus as Christians on the helping other people, where in China and Russia's on the fringes, China and India, the focus is on improving yourself. And that's kind of what I call them. That's one of my aha moments. You added another aha moment, and we'll wait until we talk about that in the book, but I have that handled. Now, remember in the previous section how Alexander the Great was educated. He started his formal education supervised by his mother when he was 7 years old. One of his tutors was Aristotle. His father taught him his trade to be a military leader. He was drafted in the military at age 18. High school sports and the Olympics were introduced. And so let's go through that. Formal education. The Greeks and Aristotle, and this I got to get out, they set the world education system. You take a kid at 6, 7 years old, you send him through school, he graduates at 18, you draft him into the Army. We did that up until a few years ago. And then some go to university. The university system was created by Aristotle, so the structure of our education was based on the Greek methods. And they say this whole started from, the whole idea was the Greeks' wisdom or curiosity of that little tiny country took over the world. Now, in the year 507, Athenian leader, you pronounce that, introduced a system of political reform that he called the demo, or rule by the people. From demo, the people, kratos, or power. It was the first known democracy in the world. So Greece gave us our democracy. A democracy is a political system or a system of decision-making within an institution or organization or a country in which all members have an equal share of power. Modern democracies are characterized by two capabilities that differentiate them fundamentally from earlier forms of government: the capacity to intervene in their own society and the recognition of their sovereignty by an international legitimate framework of similar sovereign states. Democratic government is common, juxtaposed, which is compared with oligarch and monarchic systems, which is the rule by a minority and a sole monarch, respectively. What you see in Russia and China are oligarchies. And that's why you're seeing what's happening today. You've got a few people who are trying to protect their wealth. A system. Okay. So I say philosophy is a Greek invention. Philosophy, love of wisdom, is the study of general and fundamental questions such as those about existence, reason, knowledge, values, and mind. And here's where Confucius, his line like this, and I got to write it out, but his line like this would be completely different. Now, birth of democracy is what, why, where, how. As humankind's spiritual brain, he or she was born with and evolved over time, questions like this arose. Is there a God, and what is he all about? Where did I come from, and why am I here? What is life's purpose, and why does my Creator expect of me for the many blessings, gifts he has given me? What is the life all about? How, why, and why were we created, and what was our purpose? What is right, what is wrong, what do I value? I think I know I told this story before. I came home in my freshman year in college, and at the Thanksgiving table, I started to bring up subjects like this. And that's when I had my first Damascus Road experience. Now, today, the answers to these questions is known as metaphysics, which is concerned with the fundamental nature of existence, reality, epistemology, knowledge and beliefs, ethics, values, and logic, the rule of inference, what allows to derive conclusions from true premises. Other notable subfields include philosophy of science, political philosophy, atheistic philosophy of language, philosophy of mind. So the Greeks, kind of when philosophy was kind of, or their education system and wisdom, they started out with just trying to figure out why are we here. But as they developed philosophy, it influenced science, it influenced government, all kinds of things. And that's, again, was based on the Greek philosophy that was started compared to what Confucius did in China and Asia. And initially that worked better than the Greek philosophy, because if you look at the world, the Chinese, especially China, were way ahead of Western civilization in terms of technology. I mean, they brought printing. You can just go on and on. So initially, what Confucius told the people how to organize themselves led the China in a faster direction in developing technology. And that's why along the way we've been talking about developing the Silk Road. That started out because the Western folks didn't have that stuff, but China did. So that's what started the trade as a means of developing civilization. Yeah, as Greek civilization and culture evolved, an understanding of life's meaning developed into a science known as philosophy. Philosophy is Greek's literally means love of wisdom. Philosophy is the study of nature, of reality, including the relationship between mind and body, substance and accidents, events and causation. It is concerned with the nature and scope of knowledge and whether knowledge is possible. Among its central concerns has been the challenge posed by skepticism and the relationship between truth, belief, and justification. Central to this belief system is the proof of the why through reason, philosophy, versus accepting the why on faith, theology. And this part here needs a lot of philosophy, but what we're talking about is faith versus philosophy, and philosophy of living and living by faith. In Genesis, Adam was warned not to eat of the fruits of the tree of knowledge. Descartes, a French philosopher and mathematician, often called the father of modern philosophy, recognition that it was human beings are different because we think, and truth, and try to use the gift of reason or rational arguments to understand the meaning of life. He even came up with a mathematical argument that uses geometry, which he invented to prove God's existence. It is rather convincing use of Euclidean coordinates, but falls when using more universal curvilinear coordinates. But people are still trying to find why are we here, and so that's how philosophy developed, and that's how I think people think philosophy is counter to religion, but it really isn't, and the proof is in what I'll be writing more about in my book. That's the end. So